All right then. Off the rails, I think episode 6 or 7. I don't even remember. Yeah,
I think 6. I'm gonna go
6.
6.
Okay, 6 it is. As you can tell, we are definitely in a different backdrop from the previous videos that we have done, which is a good thing because
Yeah.
things are improving here.
Yeah.
So you want to talk just a little bit about that, kind of the improvements to start. You know, they're working outside, they're working in the bathroom, just kind of what's going
Yeah.
on here at Taylor's now.
Well, when we first moved into this space, we had visions of like, oh, we could do some really cool things. One of those was eventually a ramp, a deck and a ramp to run out the back, so that we don't have to hop out of a bay door and into a bay door or use the stairs. So we finally got that started. We definitely want to try to get it done before Murph. Since there's a lot of running, but then also just for the summer, right? Like, the goal was not just to have a ramp, but kind of have a place to hang out. Or in our old space, we used to be able to go out front when it was sunny, put like a rower out there, or like a bike, or like do some outdoor ease workouts. And so we wanted to try to kind of make a space that we could get back to doing that. So that is one project that is looking like it's almost done. Honestly, in 2 days, the guys have flown through that. I think that really just the railing is what's left, and leaving it open so that we could eventually, hopefully, add on to it. But I think it'll be really cool too for future competitions. We have fitness drinkers coming up. We do mayhem every year. So to give people that extra space to kind of like overflow, hang out in, or watch events from, I think is going to be really cool too. And like I said, in the future, we can add on to it. There's plenty of space out there for that thing to extend out. But the most solid part, I think that all of our members are going to be happy about is like running in and out of the gym should be much easier now, and more fluid. So we're excited about that. And then we do have, if you hear any jackhammering in the background, the bathrooms are on the other side of this wall. And we are adding a shower to one of our bathrooms, which was one of the other goals that we wanted to eventually have when we moved in this space. Was originally the idea was to add more bathrooms and showers, but that was really expensive, and we don't own this building, so I'm not going to drop $40,000-$50,000 into something I don't own. Um, with the potential of like the building could sell, or like there's all kinds of stuff going on in this area as far as commercial real estate goes. So it was more like, okay, let's be smart about it, and wait until we have enough money to add a shower to the bathroom. We looked at two, but one seems to make the most sense for now. But there's a new hot water heater, all that stuff. So if we wanted to in the future, we could add a second shower, but they have to dig down into the concrete to attach the sewer lines and all that stuff. So that is also going on. So we have a lot of noise happening in the gym over the next couple of days. Honestly, though, I mean, they both started on Wednesday, and I think they're both supposed to be done by Friday. So
Oh wow.
3 days of some noise and construction to really get some good improvements into the space to help with not only flow of workouts with the running and whatnot, but then also like 5:30 a.m.ers can now rinse off before they go to work, or someone at noon maybe has a meeting and can now hop in the shower. And like
Yeah.
the goal is rinse off showers, not like get ready for a night out showers,
Yeah.
because it does take one of our bathrooms down while someone's showering. So then we only have one bathroom for the rest of the people that are still here. So ideally, they are quick showers where people are rinsing off, and then we will eventually also add some changing rooms in.
Okay.
So we'll have more places for people to just change, not necessarily use the bathroom,
Yeah.
right? Because right now, even how we had it before, people are coming in to change at 4:30, and other people need to use the bathroom, and it's just this big rush. And it's like, okay, like let's leave the toilets and that open for people that need to use it. And if you just need to change, go into these other two or three. We haven't quite decided. I think it's going to be two to start, with the potential of adding a third. Right now, it'll just be a storage space. If we feel like we need more, we can always just put another wall up. But some changing rooms just for like, hey, take your nice clothes from work off and get into your gym outfit.
Yeah.
And then if you need to, go use the bathroom, because it should be more open at that point. Instead of trying to change, use the like some people be in there, it feels like for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, great.
Literally.
Now no one else got to change,
Mhm.
but you're good to go, right?
Yeah.
So, and then again, it takes a bathroom down where it's like, okay, people want to use the bathroom before they get into class for the day. So hopefully with those additions, we should get a little more fluidness out of people changing and getting their business done before class starts or after class and things like that. So always shooting to improve a little bit
Yeah.
where we can. And then I have this future awesome vision, which it will take a lot more money. But if we're here for a long time, and hopefully we are,
Mhm.
I would love to see an outdoor concrete slab with a rig
Yeah, that'd be
and
nice.
some outdoorsy things
Yeah.
that, like, again, when it's warm, like, hey, let's move class
Mhm.
outside. Maybe some cheaper older barbells
Yeah.
and like some thrown away weights or whatever, and like we can just get things dirty and messy out there, but have a little more fun. And or make it a warm up area for when we have competitions,
Yeah.
and like the rest of the room is more for the competing side of
Mhm.
things. So like that to me is an ultimate goal, and who knows, maybe we can add a overhang over it or something.
Yeah.
But technically we get to use as much of that
Mhm.
parking lot as we want. It's in our lease.
Mhm.
But again, concrete's not cheap.
Yeah.
And then another rig and all the other equipment to actually get stuff out there. But like in my head, I see like this big deck with a
Yeah.
ramp, and then on the side like a concrete space,
Yeah.
and like I think that would be
It'd be really
pretty
cool.
dope.
Yeah.
And we've had some people talk about like, what about like a sand pit for like slam ball or like volleyball? And I'm like, okay, like maybe
Yeah.
let's start with like the fitness side of things, but like also, I don't know. It's funny because like I see the gym and I want to try to keep it that way, as like a place where like people come work out and leave and they get to enjoy the other 23
Yeah.
hours of their day. But it tends to be like, let's make a lounge, let's do this. And it's like, do y'all have a microwave and a full fridge? And it's like, we joke it's your second home, but like, I don't want you living here.
Yeah.
Like, like we don't need a volleyball court and a couch and, and now we're here for 5 hours out of the day. And,
Mhm.
so, but who knows, maybe it does turn into
Yeah.
something like that in the long run. And, then I get to hang out here more. I don't know.
Yeah. It is kind of funny though, like when you talk about that, just like because there are people where it is like they are here from 4:30 to 6:30.
Yeah.
Like they just spend their whole afternoon or evening here, and people do consider like the gym and maybe more this one compared to some of the other ones I've been to, where it is like this is my second home. Like
But
this is where I come to, fulfill whatever it is that I don't get
yeah,
outside of the gym. So um I think that people are really going to enjoy the deck, I think. And
I do
hopefully
as
it
well.
kind of clears out some of those lingerers, so they're
Yeah.
like they're not just puddled up in the area where we keep bags and things like that.
Right. Like, or like, yeah, between classes,
Yeah.
like people are coming in, some people are leaving. It's like, okay, cool. Like you can hang out there and
Mhm.
chat after class,
Yeah.
cool down while the next class is getting started. And while someone's giving a coach's brief, like there's not a bunch of people in the background
Yeah.
talking. And it's
Yeah.
like, okay, it's a little more quiet.
Yeah.
And then also like after a class, like maybe at noon, like people want to hang out a little bit more, but right now there's not really a space to go.
Mhm.
And it's like, okay, like go hang out on the deck. I'm going to lock down the doors.
Yeah.
And make sure that like everything's good before the next coach comes in at 4:30. But I also don't have to hang out for 30
Yeah.
minutes. But y'all still can hang out for 30 minutes if you want to, and chat and talk and do those things.
Mhm.
So I think it definitely opens that space back up. Like in our old space, we had that outdoor concrete pad, and people would just hang out outside the doors or sit on the ledge
Yeah.
or whatever before or after class. So I definitely think it's going to open more doors. In that sense of like, yeah, more of a space to hang out and chat and continue to build that community side of things. And we haven't fully set a plan yet, but like we'll have a picnic table out there
Yeah.
or some built-in benches or something,
Mhm.
so that it's not just standing or people sitting on the rail. But um, yeah, I think I'm super excited about how that's just gonna like change the flow of like the current stuff. And obviously the kids love to go out there and
Yeah.
hang out, so that hopefully that'll help get them more out of the gym
Yeah.
and like somewhere to do something else. And not that we hate our kids, we love our kids, because they do come in and they work hard, but it can just get noisy sometimes.
Mhm.
And if there's a spot outside where it's like, hey, go play and like
Yeah.
enjoy the deck out there, I think that would be a good spot for them as well. So I think it's going to bring a lot of plus
Yeah.
here. But again, it's okay. How can we improve? Because a lot of people too. We recently sent out a survey, and I've heard it a lot too. Like, we need more rowers. We need more bikes. And it's like,
Yeah.
12 rowers compared to 10 rowers doesn't really
Mhm.
change a 20-person class that much.
Yeah.
Like 2 more people have to do what the other 8 are having to do. But can we take that $2,000 and put it somewhere else,
Mhm.
right? Not that any of this costs $2,000, it's way more. But the idea is, if
Yeah.
we keep dumping money into more equipment instead of just taking care of it, where does that equipment go?
Yeah. Yep.
Because now the walls start closing in, or we have
Mhm.
to have some storage somewhere. Like we can't just have a bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
It's got to go somewhere. And then B, does that even make sense? Like if we had 20 rowers
Yeah.
and you had a rowing class, could you imagine 20 rowers on the floor?
No.
like what else could you do with that? Like you
That'd
can't
be
even
it.
have a
Yeah.
barbell out, or like you
Yeah.
can't have, you know what I mean? Like there's only so much space that you can put things out. And so it's kind of educating people on that side of things too. Of like, I understand that you want more equipment because you think it would be nice to have your own stuff, but we can also adjust the workout or
Mhm.
delay or whatever, share things, have the floor space to still do a good workout. But then now we get to invest in things that make everything better,
Yeah.
like not just one workout potentially that I wish I had my own stuff. It's
Yeah.
like, no, no, let's put that money into a deck, a shower, things that like I said, will grow the space and give us a better chance to do other stuff as
Mhm.
well. So I think that that's a cool piece of
Yeah.
where we're investing things is still going to bring value
Mhm.
to the members. Um, just in a different way than maybe they thought it would.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and take some pressure off of coaches as well, as far as like, oh, I have to hang out here longer now, or I'm trying to give a brief and it's really loud behind me, or just little things that then
Mhm.
change a lot of other stuff too.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to your point also, it's like, yeah, we could get 2 extra rowers, but how often do we actually do a rowing workout? Or is it really that big of a deal if, okay, instead of at 0, I start at 2 minutes?
Right.
Like, I personally, especially with summer and to your point, Murph coming up, I think like the ramp with the deck is gonna be a lot more beneficial than 2 rowers, for
Right.
instance. So,
Yeah.
no, I think that'll be really cool. And like you said, I mean, it looks like they're wrapping up shortly.
Yeah. I
So
mean,
1
he's.
more day, like
I'd be surprised if it wasn't done today. I don't know how long
yeah.
it takes to build a row.
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's be honest. But I mean, the thing was framed in like three
Yeah.
hours. Like I left at 8:30, and he was getting here on what's the day? Thursday, Wednesday?
Thursday. Yeah.
No, Tuesday. So he started on Tuesday.
Okay.
Anyway, and I came back at noon, and
Yeah.
like you could see, like it was there, and
Yeah.
I was like, oh dang, like
Yeah.
that was quick.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a lot, like he had to put more braces in and like joist hangers, and there's other things to like
Mhm.
make it more sturdy and
Yeah.
safe. But it was like, oh, like, and then I was like, this is kind of nicer than I thought it was going to be, like already, you know what I mean? Like I was just kind of like looking at it and I was like, hell yeah, this is going to be
Yeah.
awesome. So yeah, I'm super stoked about it.
Yeah.
And I think hopefully as people, even some people that maybe haven't even been here this week,
Yeah.
like on vacation or something,
Yeah.
they're just going to show up and be like, oh, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, and even like we took a video of it, and I don't think the video
doesn't
really
do
does it
justice,
justice.
yeah.
Yeah. And then you walk out there and like look out the door and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
cool.
No,
Um,
that'll be good.
yeah.
So kind of transitioning a little bit. So I got a actually pretty good feedback on the last episode. Now, I probably messed up the audio somehow, so I apologize if it was quiet, but I people were actually they liked the conversations of what was the L1, what was the L2, what was the L3, like all these conversations. And it kind of I think we can kind of continue that into we just had a coaches meeting not too long ago. Like you mentioned the survey, kind of there was questions on each coach and what do you think of them, so on and so forth. So
Yeah.
and then kind of a question that was in the last video was what makes a good coach. So coming from a gym owner,
Yeah.
L3 coach, what makes a good coach?
What makes a good coach? I think there's different ways to look at that question as well, or understand that question. Not understand the question. Um, let's say different viewpoints
Mhm.
of a coach, right? A member, an athlete, maybe a competitive athlete, another coach,
Mhm.
and then an owner. So, like from those different views, I might be looking at what's a good coach differently.
Yeah.
And I think if we just start with the member, your general, like I walk in the door, maybe it's my first couple months, and I could even say like competitive athlete or long-term member are probably grouped in the same.
Yeah.
Like they don't have
Yeah.
to be competitive, but like
They know enough.
they look at coaches differently
Mhm.
if you've been here longer.
Yeah.
Right. So um, before I answer, do you have answers to this? Because I have a lot of drawn out, but we said what is CrossFit, and you were
Yeah.
like, I see it as competitive. So like,
Yeah.
you know, I'll ask you two different ways to look at it.
Mhm.
Okay. So since you are a coach, from a member standpoint,
Yeah.
what do you see as like a good coach, or like maybe when you first started, like what was something that you're like that's a good coach, and like that one needs work, or like however you want to look at it.
Yeah, I think from a member perspective, someone who's engaged the whole time. Whereas, so like the full hour class, they're engaged. And there's some workouts where it's like, okay, like I can't tell you how to like run, like just go run. Like there's some
Right.
things where it's like I don't care if
Like I'm
you're
not running next to you,
yeah,
like
yeah,
take your
exactly.
stride.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like I don't care like in a workout where it's like I'm doing just air squats, like you don't have to watch and coach me do that. Like there's some things where it's like if you want to go pay attention or do some other things, that's not going to bother me. But like in the strength portions that like how we kind of talked a couple episodes ago, how like cap is like we do one thing, whereas here we have a strength, we have a workout most of the time. I want someone to be like, okay, like, am I not squatting below parallel? Am I pulling early? Like, I want someone to actually, for the most part, be able to give me a quick cue and be like, okay, I now I know what's going wrong. Whereas instead, like, we sometimes will do like weightlifting EMOMs. It's great that you're counting the clock, but there's time in between that rest time where it's like, okay, go to this person, watch something. Typically, and again, this is just from a member perspective, not so much of me coaching, but if I at least hear like, "Oh, you're pulling your arms early," at least I know you're paying attention
Right.
and you're actually not just
Yeah.
so that's kind of what I would be what I have looked for throughout all of the gyms that I've been to. Is just someone that appears to be engaged, actually wants to be there, has ideas of okay, we have 10 rowers, but we have a 24-person class. They came prepared ahead of time. Okay, this is how we're going to break it up. Maybe I talked to the 9 o'clock coach, how did they do it, or so on and so
Yeah.
forth. So just someone who's engaged, who actually appears like they want to be there. Um, that's kind of what I look for.
Okay.
And I don't care if like the coach is so much like every single minute I'm coaching you and you're getting one-on-one feedback. I don't
Right.
care so much about that all of the time, but just someone who's engaged and actually wants to be there.
Okay. What about from another coach, like a co-coach standpoint?
Yeah.
Do you view that differently, or is it kind of the same? The ideas are there.
Yeah, I think when it's from a coaching perspective, I think it changes a little bit in the sense of you start to get to know the members more and how they want to be coached. Like if I'm a drop in, like you don't know me, like you don't know, like, oh, I actually don't like being watched
Right.
consistently all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think from a coach's perspective, like still helping the person that doesn't necessarily want to be coached. Like there's some members where it's like they are here just to have fun, socialize, do fitness. Like someone tells them what to do,
Yeah.
that's what they like. They don't necessarily they everyone wants to get better, but they don't care so much of my arm is pulled half an inch early. It's things like
Yeah.
that. Um, so again, I still think it comes back to someone who's engaged, someone who wants to be here, someone who comes with a plan and then knows the members as well. I think one thing we do really well at this gym is the coaches kind of have like certain time frames or they coach other classes more often than like I really only do 5:30
Yeah.
and it's gotten to the point where it's like I can know based on this person if I tell them this thing they'll know what it means.
Connecting cues
Yeah.
to the person.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And if I said that to someone else, maybe I have to reword that, but I know that because I coach them enough to say it's not like it's a lot better of a personal connection with coaching.
Yeah.
Whereas I think if all of our coaches were, I do 5:30, then I do 9, then 7:30, then maybe I do a 6:30. Like it's a lot of variability, and I don't think you get as good of a coach athlete relationship at that point.
Yeah. Fair.
Yeah.
So I think I'm gonna jump off of that. And my first, like, no matter what view you're looking at it from, I think a good coach is the one that you trust,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um, because I don't care how good of a coach I am, if I haven't gained your trust,
Hmm.
that you believe in my ability to make sure you're doing something right,
Yeah.
not get hurt, um, encourage you appropriately for the way you like to be encouraged or what you're looking for, and then also, can I use that now to make you better? Right, but it all starts with trust. Like you as a member or somebody walking in this gym, and it goes for like the later member or the competitive person as well, or a coach to another coach, or me as an owner. Like
Mhm.
all of it comes back to trust. Like, do I trust you to do your job um, appropriately throughout the hour, to make sure that if I'm a member, I want to trust my coach to make sure I'm safe, and
Mhm.
that then okay, are you teaching me right so that I don't get injured in the future, or I don't like have to relearn how to do this again,
Yeah.
right? Um, and then so on and so forth down the line. So I do think, and it does relate back to the newer member probably better of like, okay, I don't necessarily feel comfortable walking in these doors yet,
Yeah.
right? Um, I don't know what I'm really getting into. I've never
Mhm.
done this CrossFit thing before, and so that coach has to have that impact immediately of like, hey, come on in.
Yeah.
You're invited in, but also like I'm gonna be by your side today. I'm gonna like help you through this process, make sure that you're comfortable, and we're gonna start to build this relationship of like I'm not just letting you go on your own.
Mhm.
I need you to trust me that like I'm going to be watching you. So that way in the future when I'm coaching everybody, you probably trust that I'm still watching you, although I'm not right by your side,
Yeah.
but I'm going to yell your name and give you a cue and like try to help you
Yeah.
out there. So I think part of being a good coach is trust, right? Another part is knowledge. Like we talked about with L1, L2, L3, L4, like the L1's the base,
Mhm.
right? And then I would say knowledge and experience kind of go hand in hand because you don't necessarily have to have a certificate or I passed this course, right? I know a bunch of people that are smart but can't use their
Mhm.
knowledge, and then I know a bunch of people that like probably could pass the test but can't take the test, or
Yeah.
like you know what I mean. So vice versa, and that's not just in CrossFit, like that's just in life in general. But like experience kind of makes up for that. Like, okay, I've been doing this for 10 plus years, so I know, or I've heard these things and I know they affect something in a certain way. So I'm able to use that. Right. But I think also a good coach continues to build their
Mhm.
knowledge. That's the part that, like, where we talked about last time of like, don't just take the L1 and stop,
Mhm.
because yeah, you can gain experience, but like you can gain more knowledge, and
Yeah.
the more knowledge you have as a coach, the better coach you're going to be, the more confident you're going to be, and the more you're going to be able to then see a situation and react quicker
Mhm.
to that athlete or that thing, whether that's fix a movement, give them a better pace maybe, or I know this is going to happen, or this is going to, this is what we're shooting for. So maybe you need to make this a little harder. You need to make this a little easier. So it's not just necessarily fixing technique, but like cueing them on like, hey, I am, you do trust me to make you better. So now, if you do this instead of this, or you push this instead of that, like this is going to help you towards that thing that you're trying to shoot for. So there's that piece, knowledge, um, connection, trust. Staying on time is
Yeah.
big, like as far as being a good coach, and understanding the class plan and kind of like what's going to happen throughout the hour and where I kind of want those things to line up so that I do get from point A to point B and I've kind of gotten through it. Um, are you actually coaching, like you said, not just like looking at the
Mhm.
clock and going 3, 2, 1, perfect,
Yeah.
so that good coach should challenge people
Mhm.
in the appropriate way. Like you said,
Yeah.
I got to get to know that person, but then I need to know how to challenge that person,
Mhm.
um, and play with their, um, like we don't just want to challenge them all the time to where they're just frustrated, like they never feel like they're getting better. So I need to be able to like give them confidence, challenge them, give them confidence, challenge them, and like teeter on that line as that line grows.
Yeah.
Right. Um, I think that's a really big piece of, especially for CrossFit. Because we want people to continue to get better.
Mhm.
We don't just want to be like, hey, you did really good at these beginner things
Yeah.
first 6 months. And then now for the next 4 years, you're just going to do those things.
Mhm.
It's like we should be trying to get that person to progress. But I have to know what they want and what direction, like what are they using the gym for? But even if they say, I don't want to be competitive, I don't care about that. Like that doesn't necessarily mean that you shouldn't be doing some harder things or faster things, because those things are still going to drive your fitness
Mhm.
better, your health better, right? Like, um, adding more weight to this lift isn't necessarily just about the number on the leaderboard. It's about continuing to gain muscle mass, bone density, agility, maybe, like connecting pieces of the body together, so like you just have better coordination or whatever, right? Because like I can be coordinated with a PVC pipe in my hand,
Mhm.
but if I put 95 pounds in my hand, am I still coordinated?
Yeah.
Maybe, maybe not. So all I did was add a little pressure onto the body. Like we still want to have coordination there, right? um so it's like I still as a coach need to challenge you and mentally, like there's a huge mental side of challenges,
Mhm.
right? If I can make things hard in here, now when you get into something hard outside of here, you're already like have built some walls or some barriers of like that's not that hard. I know how to get through this, or like and you might not even have that thought, but just the fact that you've done hard things back to back to back to back, now this thing doesn't stress you out as much or like feel as hard as maybe it would have if you hadn't done other hard things
Mhm.
before it.
Yeah.
Um, I could be going off on tangents here, but I do think like challenging people is a big part of being a coach.
Mhm.
Um, there's not just um, hey, that was right, good job.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
yeah, anyone can probably not anyone, but like I think like I guess a better way to think about it is like outside of CrossFit. If I think back to like who was a good coach to me growing up, like on sports teams,
Yeah.
right? Um, it was the ones that pushed me to be better. It wasn't the one that was like, "Hey, you're a really good player."
Mhm.
It was like, "Hey, that was good, but this could have been better." Or, like it just continue like you're just striving to be better. You're not
Yeah.
just settling at like you're good, right? Because I've had coaches at both ends, right? And in the moment, I feel, especially as a younger person, it's frustrating because you're like, oh, this person, like I feel like I'm really good, but like,
Mhm.
like I'm never good enough. Like I just
Yeah.
gotta. But then looking back, I'm like, they were just making me better
Mhm.
and like growing me to be able to understand that it's okay to not be perfect and not be, like the best at something that like um basically not to settle like
Yeah.
and that taught me more life lessons down the road than just being a better athlete
Mhm.
you know and so not to I mean there's 50, 60-year-olds in here. Like, I don't know if I need to teach them life lessons
Yeah.
necessarily, but some of them maybe. Like, some of them are scared of something or like think something's hard or haven't ever been told they are able to do something or could do something. And then, like, you break that barrier for them or help them do it. And then all of a sudden, like, there's a 55-year-old who's like got more confidence than they've ever had that like they can go hang out with their grandchild
Mhm.
or do something like at whatever yard work or things that they
Yeah.
maybe hadn't done before and like so there is like even I think as a coach and there are younger people too that we work with so it's like across the spectrum if we're challenging people to get better in small areas over and over like those will turn into bigger areas and then they do spread out into their life not just here in the gym and so I think a coach has way more than just um, the thing that they're trying to coach impact on, right? They have impact outside of just that thing. If again, we trust that person
Mhm.
and they're being like your answer, like I have to be here for an hour and I have to be coaching, I have to be engaged. And that's gonna allow me to do these things
Yeah.
as a good coach. Um, man, um, knowledge. I already talked about that. Um, I mean, and more knowledge too, in the sense of like, let's talk about that later athlete of like, okay, they've been here for a while. Okay, how do I get this person who's maybe been doing the same thing over and over? Like, how do I progress them, right? I
Mhm.
need to have different drills and exercises and more than just add weight or, you know, do more reps.
Yeah.
Like, okay, there's things that you're lacking mobility wise or technique wise and things like that. So I need to have the knowledge to be able to see those things during a class or while those things are happening to then be able to cue that person. Or like if we get into more of the competitive side of because there's obviously different levels of coaching in this. Like it's not just do more CrossFit.
Mhm.
Like it's like, okay, here's your holes. Here's what you're not
Yeah.
the best at. We still need to do CrossFit, like do your 1 hour a day of class, but like, okay, you want to be more competitive outside of this 1 hour. Here's like one, two, three things that we're gonna work on that are gonna be more isometric, not isometric, single modality type of stuff, right? Like your pulling is bad. Okay, well, we need to work on your ability to pull.
Mhm.
Okay, I need to work on your strength. I need to work on your endurance with pulling. I need to work on your being able to pull under fatigue.
Yeah.
Like there's different things, right? Maybe you're a bad pusher, same thing. Maybe you're just bad at cardio. Like sorry, but you're going to need to do like some aerobic capacity work,
Yeah.
and that is going to eventually make this better, right? It's not the fun stuff, but like this is what you're bad at,
Mhm.
and this is how I'm going to make you better, right? Now, I don't want to do that with just a member,
Yeah.
especially a new person, of like, because they don't care if they're bad at rowing.
Mhm.
They want to get through the workout, sweat a little bit, have fun, and move on to the next thing, right? Or running or whatever. Like, we're still going to challenge them to run and maybe challenge them to run a little further,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to make that person do 10 400-meter intervals
Yeah.
trying to hit the same time,
Yeah.
right? So there's a complete difference there. But knowledge of, hey, this is a hole of yours, like we need to fill that, and understanding that it doesn't just need to be more CrossFit, and that's how we're going to make that better. Like, it
Mhm.
needs to be some more single modality or coupleted like things to like, okay, we're gonna fatigue and then we're gonna work. We're gonna fatigue, then we're gonna work. And there's a lot more like back and forth there. Um, man, probably should have had a list. Couldn't make a list.
Yeah.
Also, we didn't really say that we were gonna talk about this, but just off the top of the head, like, um, really also like inspiring, not necessarily inspiring, um, leading. I think a good coach does what they tell people to do.
Mm.
Um, like, I'm not gonna coach you to do this or tell you to do this, and then I'm gonna go and do something completely different. Or, like, I'm not gonna like, I call it leading from the front. Like, if I program something that's really hard, I'm gonna come in here and do it.
Mhm.
Like, I'm not gonna program something hard for class and then be like, man, that looks like it sucks. I don't really feel like doing that
Yeah.
today. I'm not gonna do it. Like, I always, even if I'm not feeling my best, I'm like, I made everyone else do this really shitty thing today. I'm also gonna go do it.
Mhm.
And I think that about like all programming. But then like last year, like I decided I was gonna run a marathon and like challenged other people to do it. And it's like, now I have to follow through on that. Like,
Yeah.
I can't challenge other people to do it and then not do it.
Mhm.
So it's like, that was a personal thing to, if I got other people involved, like now I have to prove to them that I also can do this because I said I was going to do it. So it kind of held me accountable. But then it was also like, I do want to give a good example of like, hey, like I hate running and I'm going to
Yeah.
put time into running and I'm going to go do this thing. And like that kind of helps um, build more of the trust, I think, of like, hey, if I'm doing what I'm asking you to do, then now hopefully you trust me even more when
Yeah.
I'm coaching you. And I think that comes down to like just daily things of like, as a coach, when another coach is coaching, I should be going to the whiteboard and listening to the whiteboard brief. I should be doing the warm up and doing the class and doing like listening to the coach give cues and coach people, and like hopefully that coach is looking at me because like I want to be coached too, right? Like, it's not just like I'm not just participating just to participate. Like, I am going through the class as an athlete to show other athletes that like I believe this coach is a good
Mhm.
coach and I'm listening to them as well. So not only am I building my trust as a coach by leading, but I'm also like building the other members and people around me's trust that like, hey, I'm willing to do this because this person's also coaching me and they're also going to help me. And so like, this is going to make me better. So therefore this will make you better.
Yeah.
So I think there is like a part of that, but that also goes to like cueing or moving. Like, if I pacing's hard because I will tell a class like this is what you should do, and then I'll get in the middle of it and but I'll at least admit, I'll be like, I did not do what I was telling everyone else to do today, and I really messed up this workout.
Yeah.
But like, like if I am asking someone to squat below parallel, like I should damn sure be trying to squat below parallel.
Mhm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, it shouldn't be like, hey, you need to do this and I'm gonna do this.
Yeah.
Like, it's like we all should be shooting for the same thing, and I'm gonna like lead by example by trying to move the best I can move, by trying to do the workout the best I can do the workout. So that way it is like, okay, like this coach does know what they're talking about, or like is at least willing to like put into practice what they're saying as
Mhm.
well. So I do think that's a big part of it. Um, and then like really raising people up and members up of like, not like, hey, I coached you really well, I did a good job coaching you, but it's like, hey, you did really well today. Like, I'm so proud of you for pushing yourself. Or like, did you see how that cue, like, yeah, like that was awesome. Like, you move so much better. Now I want you to remember that,
Yeah.
so that way next time you do this movement, you can crush that again. Right. Like, so you're trying to put it back on them of like, you did the work, you did
Mhm.
the thing. And like, you should be proud of that. Like, not, hey, I helped you out today. Good job.
Yeah.
Like, no, it wasn't about me. Like, I was just doing my job. You put the effort in, you focused on what you should do, you hurt a little bit more today than you normally do, or like push those boundaries a little bit more. And like you should connect with that and realize that you did something hard,
Mhm.
and like you should be proud of that.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge part of being a good coach as well, of like celebrating people and their wins and making sure that they understand that it was on them, not on my coaching or my programming, or like, my I saw something and like
Mhm.
gave you this awesome thing, and now it was this trick that like no one else knows. It's like, no, like I, I gave you something to think about, and then you put it into work, and then now you hopefully have connected and you can be better with it. Um, and then um, from like an owner standpoint, I would say coaching, a good coach, bad coach, I do want to see those things, but I also have to realize that like try to like build and develop those things as
Mhm.
well. Like I don't think someone's just gonna like have that
Yeah.
and then, oh, I want to hire you.
Yeah.
Like it's going to take time, but I do need to like try to help like guide those things. Or again, if I am a higher level coach or a better coach or whatever, like, okay, when I'm coaching, I need to be hitting those things
Mhm.
so that when other coaches see me, they see me doing it. And oh, I want to try to mimic that the best I can. Not
Yeah.
necessarily word for word, but like, okay, he's doing this, he's doing this, he's doing this. Man, that class went really well. Like,
Mhm.
so like I want to try to follow up on those things as well. But then also like me stepping back, watching someone coach or being in their class, hey, like, great job, but could we have done this a little bit better?
Mhm.
Could we have, cued this a little differently? Or like, could we have coached this a little bit better instead of just like a quick warm up thing? Like, could you have put another drill in there that was more of like a learning drill, not just a warm up drill?
Yeah.
Right? Like, how can we like just tweak some things here and there so that it is still fun in a warm up, but they're moving better,
Mhm.
or they learned something or thought about the movement a little differently today. So there's those pieces as well from an owner standpoint. And then trust, like, hey, do I trust you to come in and like be engaged for an hour and take care of these members and make sure that they're safe and like having fun, and that you are in control of the class. Yeah. So I mean, there is a lot there as far as like good coach. um, is there a bad coach? I mean, yeah, there could be.
Mhm.
Disengaged, doesn't care about. I guess care is a good word. Trust
Mhm.
is, but like, do you care about the people in front of you for the
Yeah.
day? Right. A good coach is going to care. Like you're going to be nice. You're not going to be an a hole. You're going to be like, hey, I actually care about you getting better today.
Mhm.
I'm not just here to open the gym, turn the lights on, and start the clock.
Yeah.
Like that's leading, not coaching, or that's
Mhm.
like, talking it out. Um, and then do you care to get better?
Mhm.
Like if you're just stuck with your craft and like where it's at and like you're just like good with like this is it, um, then I don't, and I think that goes for life or like your job as well, like outside of the gym. Like, I mean, a coach, it is their job, but like most of our coaches, all of our coaches except for me, have another full time job.
Mhm.
And it's like you probably don't want to stick with the same level that you're at. Like, you're probably learning things, trying to get a promotion and move up in the company
Yeah.
or more about your industry. So I think the same thing applies to coaching and CrossFit. It's like, okay, if we can continue to learn things about our industry and like how to coach better and, connect with people better, then it's like, I'm just going to become a better coach because I'm more involved. And then like, I also think a good coach like tries things.
Mhm.
Um, like you're not afraid to be like, "Hey, I saw this drill," or I like
Yeah.
think that this thing will help you. Like I've come up with things off the top of my head before because I'm like, okay, I understand this movement patterns, this and that, and like, how do we make that easier? Like you have to be able to think really quick, and again, that goes back to knowledge. But then it's like, okay, let's try this, and then it either works, and I see the thing that I want, or it doesn't.
Yeah.
But if I didn't try it, I don't know,
Mhm.
right? And then it's like, oh, that did work. Okay, I'm going to save that for later because I'm going to try that with somebody else or with this athlete again, like you said earlier. Like I can connect with that athlete, and now I know how to cue that person with that thing because
Yeah.
it fixed the thing I was looking for.
Mhm.
But if I never tried it and I just stuck with the same safe cue, it's like, it's not really working, but this is the cue I'm going to give you.
Yeah.
It's like, that doesn't, what are we
Yeah.
doing? You know what I mean? Um, but like, it's okay to fail as a coach.
Mhm.
And, like we tell our athletes all the time, it's okay to fail. And it's like, it's okay to fail as a coach because it's like, I wanted to try something, but then I have to be able to admit that that was dumb. I shouldn't have tried that. I mean, there's this great story. I would say Chris Henshaw's a really good coach.
Mhm.
I don't know if you've heard this before, but he talks about Rich Froning and handstand push-ups, and they try to do like jumping handstand push-ups.
Hmm.
and like exploding
Yeah.
onto like a plate or something, and Rich like fell on his head and like basically almost injured himself. And Chris Henshaw was like, "That was stupid. That was on me." Like, you know what I mean? But it's like, but he was willing to admit that,
Yeah.
like, and not be like, "Oh, that was your fault." It was like, "Okay, that was a dumb idea." I think what he was trying to do was like muscle fibers and things, and like
Yeah.
Rich just being a really athletic person. But it takes a good coach to like say, "Hey, that was on me.
Mhm.
Like I messed that up.
Yeah.
Right? That wasn't a you thing." Like I've definitely programmed classes or given like workouts or time domains and like in the middle of it been like, "That's on me." Like
Yeah.
it was either too easy or too hard.
Mhm.
Which like when I get into some of my one-on-one training, like that's why I like to be there in person, because it's like I'm not going to test all of these things, but
Yeah.
like I have a pretty good idea of what I think's going to happen. But occasionally it's like, "Ooh, that's too easy. Let's crunch that time domain down." Or that's too hard. I'm going to add another minute of rest, or
Yeah.
like give you more time here, or like just stop you for the day.
Mhm.
Of like, you're not in a good spot. This workout was too hard. You don't need to just keep grinding through the mud. Like, that's not going to make you better. Like, that's on me. Like, I made a bad call. Let's stop.
Yeah.
And then let's come up with something else to get some more work in today.
Mhm.
And that could go back to class too, of like, I asked you to do too much weight. I
Yeah.
asked you to do too hard of a movement. Now, during class, can I walk over and say, "Hey, Nate, my bad. That's too many reps for where you're at, or
Yeah.
that's too hard of a thing for where you're at. Let's scale that down real quick because I want you to get this workout."
Mhm.
Right. And vice versa, which we talked about at the coaches meeting. Not just letting an athlete like, "Hey, I scaled it too easy for you."
Yeah.
I'm not going to go slap weight on their bar while they're not looking, but I'm going to be like, "Hey, I think we should add some weight. What do you think?"
Yeah.
And then, yeah, this is really easy. Cool. Okay, let's do it.
Mhm.
And like to be able to have that as a coach of like, I messed up telling you what to do, but I'm also going to walk over in the middle of this workout and adjust it really quick so that way you can continue to move forward.
Yeah.
Not like, "Oh, that was the right call."
Yeah.
Like that's not always the best answer
Mhm.
either. So, um, yeah, admitting like when you've messed up, leading from kind of the front, I would say, giving praise to your athletes, connecting with your athletes, taking care of your athletes, um, just focusing more. Like I mean, this whole gym, I think I tried to build around like other people,
Mm.
like not it. I don't. I want people to have a really good experience when they come in here and to get better
Mhm.
and to like be healthier. That's the main goal. Like, do I want better athletes to be better athletes? Yes, but like I want the majority of people to come in here and like enjoy being here.
Yeah.
And I think that's the main thing for CrossFit in general. Like being a good coach, you should be able to have a class walk in and enjoy that hour
Mhm.
and enjoy it by they had fun, they had a smile on their face, and they worked hard, and then hopefully they learned something or they got a little bit better. I mean, there's the whole like I got 1% better today. Like there is like that 1% better thing, right? And like we don't just want to leave them with like a, "Oh, I did everything that I normally do" type of feeling.
Yeah.
And maybe occasionally, but like if that's like a month or 2 or 3, it turns into a year, and it's just like I'm just going in and moving, and like no one's coached me, cued me.
Yeah.
My weights haven't gone up. I haven't been pushed to do something different or new or harder, and like then like we're dropping the ball as coaches. Like
Mhm.
we're not kind of pushing that person to get
Yeah.
better.
Yep.
Um, yeah. I don't know. Do you have thoughts on any other stuff that I didn't cover, or like a
Um,
question on? I don't
I
know.
mean,
Like,
not so much like what you didn't cover, but just kind of some standouts, I guess,
yeah,
or takeaways
go
was
for it.
first one being like the knowledge of just improve, like constantly trying to be better yourself. And I don't necessarily think that means you have to go do more courses or things like that, but we have a lot of coaches here that have very different like specialties or skill sets
Mm-hmm.
where it's like even going to them like, okay, Robert White's really good at gymnastics. And I've heard some of his cues and be like, I never even thought of that, and that I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah.
Or I know he's stolen some of our weightlifting stuff of like when he was in barbell club, I come to the class the next day, we're doing that lift. Oh, I heard that. Like
Yeah, I
you
said
you
that
heard yeah, yeah,
yesterday.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So I think like things like that, or like Tori, an ultra marathon runner.
yeah.
Like if I need help running, that's probably who I'm gonna go to.
Right.
Right. So
Yeah.
I think being able to be vulnerable with other coaches as well and be like, hey, I don't know this as well. Can you teach me something that I can implement in my class?
Yeah.
I do think courses are always good as well,
And I
but
think that goes back to the don't be afraid to try it.
yeah.
Like I heard Nate say it,
Mhm.
um, so I'm gonna say it.
Yeah.
But then also, I think the big part with that though is do you understand why you were told
Yeah.
that? Right? I have had or heard coaches just like repeat something before.
Mhm.
And I'm like, but did that make sense in this situation?
Yeah.
Right. So that is the knowledge part of like, I don't need to take a course, but maybe I should at least understand why
Yeah.
Nate told me that while I
Mhm.
was weightlifting,
Yeah.
to fix whatever it was and connect that with that that situation,
Yeah.
not just like, hey, we're cleaning, so this is a cue.
Yeah.
Or this is we're whatever it was, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But I do think hopefully if a coach is giving you that cue, they know why they're giving you that cue.
Yeah.
So then I could ask you, like, hey Nate, like why did you like it worked, but
Mhm.
like what did you see? Like what did you
Yeah.
fix? And then now I can take that. So yeah, being
Yeah.
vulnerable I think is
Mhm.
huge and asking the other coach why or like where did you learn not necessarily where did you learn it because it doesn't really matter, but like
Yeah.
what
Mhm.
why did you give me that? And then yeah, now let me put that in my bank
Yeah.
and then use that later.
Yeah.
Cool. Like that.
I think
What else we got?
the other one was leading from the front, to your point, is I think the way you coach or like how you run a class or things like that, that's ultimately, I would assume, how you want other classes ran. So putting out that good example up front of, okay, as owner, as I would say head coach, I'm not just watching the clock. Like I
Right.
am going around to people, I'm helping them. And as coaches, we should then take that and not coach exactly how you coach,
Right.
but have those fundamentals of like, okay, Cameron isn't just sitting at the desk doing nothing while he's running a class.
Yeah.
Like he's actually out there coaching, he's helping people, he's going one on one, he's watching as a group. So then, as a other coach, taking that and being like taking that foundation and those fundamentals and then implementing that into my classes, and that's having that good coaching culture, and then hopefully classes become a little more unified, where it is like I can kind of expect from coach to coach, this is what I should expect
Yeah.
day to day.
Right.
Then I think the biggest one is does come back to that trust aspect. I mean, even in that Hinshaw Froning, just kind of that you mentioned, it's like Froning had to trust Hinshaw even though it failed.
Yeah.
Like so,
Like
even though
like,
Hinshaw
okay.
tried as the coach, like trying, let's try something new. Froning was at least like, well, I trust you enough
Like,
on this other thing.
yeah.
Like, so those were kind of at least the three takeaways that I took from this. Um, and I think they were everything else was good also, but I think the ones that kind of stuck out to me were those three.
Yeah. And I don't think there's a black and white good coach, bad coach. And
Mhm.
I also don't think that maybe people realize what a good coach like, do I have a good coach or not? You might not know
Yeah.
if you've never been to another gym or
Mhm.
been coached by other people,
Yeah.
right? And then also like understanding that like there's a spectrum to it.
Mhm.
And like just because I have a great coach doesn't mean that this person's not like they're not automatically a bad coach. Like they can still
Yeah.
be a good coach. They're just not as good as this other coach who maybe has been doing it longer
Mhm.
or like has more experience, right? Like I would just say like there's levels to it, and
Yeah.
it also depends on like what you want as an athlete or as a member. Like you might think one coach is a good coach, and they might not connect with people at all really well, but like they make that person way better and that member might be the type of person that doesn't need to connect with people. Like they're just okay with like getting better. And like as long as they're learning, like they don't care about the connection part and you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And then there's some people that like all you need is their trust and they might not get better at all. Or like hopefully you're making them a little better, but like they're more in their head, like I trust that person and I'm gonna show up every day, like no matter what. Like there's just different ways that members and athletes like we could give a list of things like here's a good coach,
Mhm.
but it's like you could check all those boxes and I might not think you're a good coach
Yeah.
because there's like that like you have it or you don't factor kind of
Mhm.
like do I walk in and I see somebody coaching and I go cool today's gonna be great, or do I walk in and see somebody coaching and go ah that person's coaching today,
Yeah.
and like it doesn't matter if they're trying to get better or not if I have that feeling about them like it does they could be wherever on that
Yeah.
spectrum.
Mhm.
But I also shouldn't judge somebody based off of somebody else's abilities, right? Because like there's other gyms and there's other things and like you could be the best coach in the upstate.
Yeah.
You're only going to coach at one gym. There's other CrossFit gyms, and like people are probably still learning, still having fun, still being better. So there are some base things that we're probably looking for, but like that doesn't necessarily mean someone's not you as the best coach in the upstate, they're a bad coach.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of good coaches, and then there's better coaches and great coaches and expert coaches, but like just don't get twisted like good coach versus like bad coach and like
Yeah.
immediately there's one side or the other.
Yeah.
It's like there's a progress. And again, like how long have they been coaching and are they trying to step it up? Cool.
Mhm.
Like let's give them the credit of like they're getting better.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? So that's to me, that's a good coach. Like you're trying to get better, right? If I just brought you on and you weren't trying to get better, and after 6 months it was just like this lackluster, like I start the clock and like read the board, and it's like
Mhm.
you probably shouldn't coach here anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like I understand that you thought you could help people, but like this is not really going well.
Mhm.
And, you know, so I will say the last thing that I think helps us with that is I only bring people that are part of this community and members on to coach
Mhm.
because I like to see how they interact with other people. And I like to see that other people already like them and trust them.
Mhm.
And their personalities tend to lead towards somebody that can stand in front of people and talk.
Yeah.
Because you have to be able to lead. I think that's another one that maybe we miss. Like, you could be the best coach in the world, but if you can't lead,
Mhm.
like stand in front of and like get people to like listen, then it's gonna be a rough
Yeah.
time coaching. you know. So it's like I like to see those things like before I bring you in, and like I mean I don't really ever foresee a situation where it's like we put out an ad of like, hey, we're looking for a coach, and like someone just applies and comes in and like all of a sudden they're running classes. Like, not
Mhm.
that that's a bad thing. Like, I'm sure there are gyms that do that, but like I think personality matters a lot.
Yeah.
And I just like to make sure that people fit in, and you know our members enjoy being around that person
Mhm.
before I'm like, hey, this person's going to start leading and be in charge of a class.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
that's part of that too.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Cool.
All right. So we are now the longest time that we've ever gone
Oh
on
boy.
this. So
I can talk forever, and especially something like that. There's
yeah,
tangents.
yeah,
You know, you can definitely go off on.
there's
So
like
anyway, sorry.
everything. But with that, any last closing remarks, maybe about the gym, about anything going on, any just kind of the last close.
No, I mean, other than like we hope to always provide good coaching and better coaching, and
Yeah.
we did send out a survey, but
Mhm.
I would say as a someone watching this or a member, like if there's anything that ever sticks out, whether it's here or you're at another gym, like go to who's in charge and like let them know,
Yeah.
because like um you are paying for a service, and if you don't think it's good,
Mhm.
then someone needs to know about it.
Yeah.
You know, and e- I would say it's hard as an owner sometimes because like I don't think it happens as much, but like a coach could coach differently when I'm here in their class or in the
Mhm.
building than when I'm not.
Yeah.
And I see good coaching. And I'm like, oh, they're a good coach. But
Mhm.
then when I'm not here, it's completely different. Then it's like I need to know that,
Yeah.
right? And if another owner probably wants to know that, and just any business needs to
Mhm.
know that, right? And that's why like people have places to leave reviews and things. So I would leave it at that too. Of like if you see a good coaching thing or a bad coaching thing, or like, and you want to, praise is always good too, but like if something's not going well and you're paying for it, instead of just leaving that gym or whatever, like because you like the rest of it, but that one person, like go tell somebody so they can address it,
Yeah.
and maybe help that coach be better, or maybe get rid of that coach. Like,
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like, hey, you're not doing this thing when I'm not here.
Yeah.
Like that's not good character. Like
Yeah.
you should be doing things when like the same way all the time.
Mhm.
So don't be afraid to speak up too, of like, hey, we want things to be better. So that's how I always want it around here, at least, is like do something to help this place be better, whether you're part of the staff or not.
Yeah.
And by speaking up, that is part of that.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right. With that said, that is going to wrap up today's episode. So go ahead, leave some comments, ask some questions if you have any. Go ahead and like the episode as well. It just spreads it to more people and helps the YouTube algorithm. And then finally hit that subscribe button as well.
Yes, sir.
So that has
Comments we'll
been
talk about.
Off the
Bring 'em
Rails.
up.